make one more, and then I think I might go soak in the tub, shave up and soak in the tub. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired, cracked tooth and swollen ankle on the side that has the stuff. I got to get out in the sun. I know, once you get out in the sun and then it's got to get out, and it's uncomfortable before you get comfortable again when you're chemically poisoned. I've been chemically poisoned enough over the last 13 years to know that it's laborious and abusive and all that stuff. And the thing is, in this town, they as soon as you get through one stage, they put you through another, and they're just horrible. And you get people, it's like, no, guys, the cracked tooth and stuff. Like when I went to Dr. Laura, Mr. Parsons, you're gonna have to stop doing that. I said, that'd be great, Dr. Laura, if I actually did do drugs and alcohol, I could stop doing them and then save my teeth. But I had drugs and alcohol in my system, and I thought, I took on the military, and then the military said, fuck you. And I was like, okay. No, you understand that, you got to understand that the people in the military and the scientists in the military have absolutely no respect for the Messiah. They have no belief in the truth and the way the Messiah sees it and has faith. Okay, they do not believe in faith, and they don't believe in having faith in God, and they have absolutely no respect for the Messiah. Okay. None whatsoever. Okay, if they did, we'd be sharing the Lord's Prayer with science projects right now. Okay, so that's something you just got to come to terms with. Okay. When I would go to the soup kitchen and I would sit there and go, no, Jesus, because I was getting the chemical poisoning stuff in my body, I feel the changes and felt miserable. And I would say, no, there's no way in hell. One, I'm the Messiah. Two, this is the one place where all these poor people get one hot meal a day. Earl, this is the same people that give you the Holocaust, Earl. Okay. He'd always tell me that, and he would sit there and go, Earl, stop, don't think like you. Don't think like me. You're going to have to try to come to terms with understanding what they're capable of so you can, do something about it. We're talking about correcting technology that was invented to mass murder people and then try to justify it through bad science, which we already knew from the genome sequencing right off the bat when they told me about, the Mexicans and and all that stuff. And I said, just give them the Lord's Prayer. It's not time yet. So, I'm certain because they have technology, and so they can do math equations. The way they made me, what I was led to understand and believe with the way they treated me in Sierra Vista was that, I was like a parrot, I was like a parrot parasite that comes in and steals the hard work of good, brilliant scientists and doesn't do any of the work and then uses it to manipulate the masses as a charismatic cult leader. Okay. But then I'm like, yeah, but you can sit there and work on it. It's like the whole thing with the Michael Jordan thing and the kids in the game. You can work on your game for all year, from 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 hours a day. And I play maybe 1 hour a day and go hang out with my girlfriend and have a life. And then I'm still better than you and you get all pissed. And it's like, well, just enjoy it. It's just exercise. What's in a kiss? That song is stuck in my head. But so you're just like I don't understand selfish people, and I don't understand aggressive, violent, selfish, narcissistic people. Like when you get people that talk about faith, and when I finished that last one, Jesus was my head. He goes, you can't rely on your quote unquote faith if you're unfaithful. You can't have the commands of Lord Jesus Christ to forgive debt and trespass, love one another, and adhere to that command and be faithful to it without fear, and then say, I don't have to do it because I've accepted Jesus as God and he paid out for me. That's ridiculous. It's like, okay, your faith isn't based on being faithful. Your faith is on trying to be faithful, but you'll never be able to do it. Okay, and everything he asks you to do in the Bible, you can do. But they'll kill you. He's not asking you to be murdered. He's not asking you to murder. He's asking you to stop murder by obeying the commands of the Lord's Prayer. Okay, so yes, seriously, okay. So it's, when someone is determined, okay, to replace the Messiah with their ego, okay, you can attempt to convince them not to do it, okay? But it didn't work with Job. It didn't work. It's never quote unquote worked. In a sense, that what happens is when the entire group realizes that Job's the Messiah and he's right, Daniel's the Messiah and he's right, then it helps everybody do the right thing for that time. Okay. But like in Jesus's time and Haile Selassie's time and now in my time, you cannot convince an egomaniac, okay, that he's wrong and the Messiah is right. Okay, they just know. You can't do it. I spent my whole lifetime trying to do it. I was raised in the Mormon church. Okay. Do you see the Mormon church going, the Messiah is Ralph Earl Parsons Jr.? We should all stand up for the Lord's Prayer and start living it. It's absolutely perfect. Right? It's not happening. Okay. And I corrected their president of their church on Easter weekend before I turned 4 years old. And then they came after me even harder to try to turn me into David Rockefeller's evil little Damien with more science. That's why Mr. Ponce, when I talked to Paul about it and stuff too, because I knew he saw all the things I went through, and I knew because the way Ronnie talked to me about it, you're quite a kid. You're such a good person that you make me feel like I could believe in the one God again, instead of being an atheist, And a man who saw nothing but mass murder through military corporate corruption his whole life and lived through it without, going mad and killing everybody that he worked with. I mean, it's a pretty special compliment, So, and the same with Mark, If I had had friends like you, I would have had a better life and I wouldn't have killed as many people in my life as I did. Mark killed quite a few people in his life, okay. He said a lot of them, it was being a bouncer in a bar. I used to make my trinkets for beer money, and they would start stuff, and I'd tell them to stop, and we'd get in a fight, and it basically, they would end up dead, and the cops would come in. Most of the time was in Gallup, New Mexico, Grants, New Mexico, in Gallup, New Mexico. And he could just beat the guy up, and if he ended up dead, it was self-defense. Welcome to small-town bureaucracy, New Mexico, or in USA, in the 1970s. So, yeah, he told me I killed. He goes, I know I killed lots of people when I was a bouncer at bars, with my bare hands. Yeah, and it just got, the bar owner was one of the top citizens in town. The sheriff was on the payroll, and I was like, wow. Like he told me that story about the little European girl that came in and came to find the noble savage and all that, and Mark tried to tell her, no, those two Navajo men will just take you out, get you high, rape you, and kill you. And she asked him about, well, you're part German. Germans are just evil. And she just ignored him. And then a week later, the two Navajo guys were talking about what they did at the bar. And they did it, and no one ever saw that migrant, that traveling European girl that came, and read books and came to experience the noble savage. And she talked about it, and Mark told her straight to her face, and she said he was just being wicked and evil because of the German in him. And he just said, fuck you, lady. Okay. And he said, like I said, a week later, those two guys talked about how they took her out there, gave her drugs, raped her, and killed her. And no one at the bar ever told anybody. And Mark just, hey, I told her. I was like, God, that just sounds absolutely horrible. Yeah, and that's why Mark told me, he said, if I had had a friend like you in my life would have been a lot better. If I had just one friend like you. And he knew, because he had my, quote, IEP and all my surveillance, and friends that saw and things on my surveillance. Well, some people think he's the real deal. Some people think he's just a chicken shit who's trying to half-ass his way through all this stuff. But then when they checked all my... the big thing was, it wasn't so much checking all my stuff. Like I said, they thought I was a charismatic cult leader that got my energy from weak, poor people that gave me all their energy, because they couldn't defend themselves because they were lazy and shouldn't be alive and just a dredge on society and need to be killed off the face of the planet, then I won't have the same energy that I have if I don't have all these weak people to draw it from. So that's why they're still mass murdering people with depression that pray to Lord Jesus God to ease their suffering and protect them and guide me, walk beside me, help me. So that's what they're doing, and that's pretty much obvious. That's a pretty simple assessment. Is it going to stop? Well, yeah, it's going to stop. I just don't know how, because I'm not God and I'm not a scientist, right? And but it's turn out good. What do you mean? As far as if it's not going to turn out good, guys, it's already disgusting. It's already horrible. What do you mean it's not going to turn out good? It's already disgusting. So it's not one of those things where it's not going to turn out bad. It's not going to turn out good for these people. It's like, guys, they're using science projects to mass murder people through elitism, through egotistical delusions of grandeur. You listen to those people talk. Well, human beings are an amazing, it's whatever. Yeah, it's all this stuff. It's like Richard Dawkins with the, well, Richard, what do we need to do to make the world a better place? Well, let's omit the first 4 commandments and do the last 6. Okay, that's what he did. And I'm like, what a fucking asshole. Okay. Don't believe in God. Don't worry about trying to have a day of rest to, love one another and be grateful for life. Don't honor your mother and father that helped you believe and have faith in God. And, you definitely don't want to put in there, don't render unto God a graven image, because your technology and your science makes you be able to kill God and manipulate everybody with money. But the last 6 you can do. Right? That's what he said. And I was like, what a fucking asshole. Such a fucking asshole. And then all the people that have turned God into a possessive pronoun in the first person, they're the people that make people like Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins and Chris Hitchens and their business partners feel like they're justified in mass murdering the people that need help because she's retired and she's worked hard all her life, and well, she just needs to lay down and die because she's just not good enough to be one of us top scientists that can sell everybody robots to make their life more convenient. And it's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But we'll just be faithful. Stand up for a Lord's Prayer. If you stand up for a Lord's Prayer, you're actually being faithful. If you can't stand up for a Lord's Prayer, you can talk about faith all you want. You're just giving it lip service, and you're pretending that Jesus is a God that paid out for your disgustingness, and you're too scared to stand up for the courage of his faith. Okay, guys? Love one another, eternal faithful peace. All right, stand up for forgiveness of debt and trespass. Do it follow your being. Okay, love you guys. We will talk mañana. Okay. I don't know when we'll talk tomorrow, but we'll give it a try. Okay, guys? Peace.